Now what happens to that, right? So this is something for us to keep in mind, and which is why I really like what this guy said. Doug Clark from Audi. Audi last year did a very interesting campaign. They probably one of the first few brands to do so, one of the first few large brands to do so, in my opinion. They used a hashtag in their Super Bowl commercial. I think it was Progress LS or something like that, which is the new model that they were launching. Now, the idea was for people to use Progress, associate Progress with this hashtag, associate Progress with Audi, associate success with this brand, and generate conversations around that, which is what happened. And then Audi did something really smart. They used clout, and then they picked the top 1,200 people who were most influential among the guys, who used the hashtag. And then they had a more deeper engagement with them, and eventually, there was a fair bit of gratification happening, etc. At the end of this exercise, someone asked him in a press release, Doug, what's the ROI? How did this campaign pan out for Audi? He said exactly what I just shared with you before, which is we don't know. Today, the equation to measure that doesn't exist. And it's not such a difficult thing to understand or a difficult thing to believe and live by. I think we, as a market, should be more open to doing explorative stuff. Now, the problem with analysis paralysis is that if you don't get a clear answer in terms of metrics, we somehow drop an idea, which is a shame. Right? So I believe the age of this platform demands that we step outside this. Yes, we all get bonuses by numbers, but we also explore, we also discover. So moving on, this is what it all boils down to, right? Our TG. And I was just speaking to someone the other day. Suddenly, every brand wants to be the irreverent young brand. It's like as though people who are 35 plus have suddenly run out of money, they can't buy anything anymore. It's all about people in colleges, right? But that's for another day. But for a moment, just think that this is your universal set, right? This is, I'm assuming everybody is fairly comfortable with Venn diagrams, right? So this is your TG, this is your most awesome TG, this is your universal set. Now, in India, you can be fairly assured for most brands that the digital conversations are not going to be of the same volume. They're going to be fairly low. If your TGs is a few millions, a few thousands of millions, you're probably going to have about 20, 30 million people at best talking about your brand. Now, the other thing to also understand is that most of these conversations, or some of these conversations, could happen among a TG that is outside your primary TG, among a community that's outside your primary TG. That's a reality, right? You need to understand that. Now, if you go to social, which is an even smaller subset of that, which is a small community within your larger digital conversation ecosystem. So that is the perspective. Today we spend so much time about Facebook metrics, so much time about Twitter following, etc. We complain so much about that, that we fail to see that in perspective with digital conversations, which is a fairly large piece. In fact, not very long back when I was with NM Inside, we did an analysis to understand where is this brand-related conversations happening in India, right? And it's not Facebook, it's not YouTube, it's not Twitter. Most brand-related conversations, at least for the top 50, 60 brands, happen on forums like santabanta.com, right? Which is extremely crucial. What are you going to do about that? So you need to put your social community metrics, Facebook, Twitter metrics in perspective. It is with this belief that I thought it'll be interesting to throw to you three ratios. Right? First one. So we talked about conversations a lot. And these conversations could be about anything. Now today, the difference between brands is shrinking rapidly on Facebook. Everybody talks about Sachin's 100th 100. Everybody talks about the weather. Everybody talks about Anna Hazare. So what differentiates brand A from brand B? Like Rajesh once mentioned in a session some time back, is a Nike then equal to a Dabur Chyawanprash, which is equal to Tata? It's not, right? So there are conversations in your communities, probably about your brand, etc. And then there are conversations which are in the direction that you intended them. These are the guys who are rooting for your brand because they have a passion for your brand. What is this ratio? If this ratio is lopsided, then there is something fundamentally wrong with what we are referring to as conversations and what your brand is gaining from that. So this is one thing that, in my opinion, is worth your while to remember. Now, moving on to the second ratio, it's more about hits and misses, right? Now, all these Facebook fan numbers, Twitter following, all of it, put all of them together, mash them up. You have probably 2 million people following your brand. So that's your target reach. That's the number of people you can address with every single message of yours. But who are the people, or rather, how many conversations do you actually generate for a message? Right? Now, this ratio gives you an understanding of how strong your content is. If you have 2 million people, and between retweets, replies, likes, comments, etc., there are only about 500 conversations you're generating. There's something significantly wrong with the content you're putting through. So that is something that would need fine-tuning. And then the last metric, and I'm just on the borderline of time, is this. Now there are conversations about us, most us meaning brands, and then there are conversations that we are orchestrating ourselves. Right? Let me illustrate this with an example. Now Dabur Chyawanprash will have a lot of conversations whether or not they have a social page. Because that's the brand heritage, that's the brand history. It's been around for so long. Like Rajesh mentioned, your reputation is a sum total of everything you do. So is conversations. People are going to talk about everything, right? Then there is conversations generated by us. Like, for example, take a Honda Brio, for example. Take a Mountain Dew, for example. These are conversations that are mostly going to happen because we help generate them through our commercials and through what we do on communities. So what is this ratio? Overall conversations about you versus the conversations that you generate. This, in my opinion, gives you a valuable insight, which is in terms of how critical is your social homes for your larger conversation piece, or rather, where does it all fit in? Right? So my time is up. I'm going to stop there. Feel free to catch me outside. But these are 3 ratios I wanted to leave with. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you.